God is dead, and we have killed him. Sometimes people don't want to hear the truth because they don't want their illusions destroyed. The strength of a person's spirit will then be measured by how much truth he can tolerate. Just from these quotes alone, you can gain just a small glimpse into that philosopher with that incredible mustache known as Nietzsche. Nietzsche has become a very popular subject for discussion and dialogue, and it's no wonder why. He has some of the most intriguing ideas, very interesting critiques of things, and overall very interesting philosophy. So, what are some of these ideas behind that German man with that incredible mustache? What makes him so intriguing? What makes his philosophy so interesting? Well, that's what we're going to be covering today in a simplified form. And if you are new here, I would very much appreciate it if you did subscribe, as I'll be posting a lot more videos on Nietzsche and other philosophies as well. To start, let's look at the question at the core of Nietzsche's philosophy, and that is the death of God. God is dead. He remains dead, and we have killed him. How shall we comfort ourselves with murderers? What was holiest and mightiest of all the world has yet owned, has bled to death under our knives. Who will wipe this blood off of us? What water is there for us to clean ourselves? What festivals of atonement, what sacred games shall we have to invent? Now understand, when he is saying this, he didn't mean this in a literal sense, but in the realms of our society and culture, where our values come from. Because since the Enlightenment and science and reason is now taking the position of God, we are now left with a void that we must fill. That being the void of our morality, our values, and our overall compass of culture. Because now, since God is dead, the question left for us to answer is, where do we base our morality? Where do we find our values? What are we to do with ourselves? And this is a reflection from Nietzsche, almost like he's looking at us from the past and reflecting on how our society is moving today. Because if you notice, a lot of people have a very nihilistic view of our world, of themselves, and there's the overall general lack of meaning in a lot of people's lives. And Nietzsche foresaw this once the Enlightenment comes along and destroys God out of the society. This is what's left. But how does he propose we fix this? Now, he lays a couple of foundations for us, or he sets the stage for us to finally play out and build our own values. According to Nietzsche, it is now our responsibility and our duty to now build the new society. So how does Nietzsche challenge us to create our own God, or fill the void where God once was? And there's several different ways he sees us as doing this. One of the things he proposes is that we find purpose through artistic measures. Whether it's plays, whether it's drama, whether it's theater, whether it's literature, these things now should be seen as ways of finding psychological truths. They should almost be held as sacred. Things that will help us move beyond where we are today. And this is one of the reasons he admired Greek tragedies so much, because it was almost a therapeutic feeling to it. It was something that you could live by, that you could connect with. And he sees that we should bring back this whole idea of using arts in a form that is almost sacred. Almost like culture should take the place of religion. But what if these arts and the overall values in society, this just doesn't work for you? Well, that's where Nietzsche's most prominent idea comes in. That is the Übermensch, or the Overman, or if we translate that to English, the Overman, or as it's commonly referred to as the Superman. This is Nietzsche's idea of us moving beyond our society's values and creating new ones. And it is mainly created in the wake of God's death. Because now we must create our worlds with our own hands. We must build humanity on our own image. We create new values. In order to do so, we have to become an Übermensch. Now, the Übermensch, in his words, must go through 3 spiritual stages, that being the camel, the lion, and the child. So the first stage is the camel. This is where you're cultivating strength, you're cultivating discipline, and the main part of the camel is accepting the responsibility of society upon yourself. And once you have accepted this burden, you can now move to the next stage of his spiritual awakening, or his spiritual stages. The next one would be the lion. And this is where we must destroy every ounce of our society's values. We must destroy its traditions, its morality, its the inherited values we have. And this is all culminated in what he calls the great dragon. All of our old society's values into this one big thing. And this is a giant thing that has to be defeated. And once we have done this, once we have defeated the great dragon, we can move on to the final stage, the child. This is the creator of new values, where we can shape our world in our own image. It's a new beginning, and we are its creator. But what if this is too much for us as an individual? We don't want to take on the responsibility of building society's new values. Well, this is where the concept of amor fati comes in. And this means the love of fate, which he believes, and to explain this better, he believes that we should love our fate no matter what happens. And he has a great thought experiment that he uses to capture this idea of amor fati. Think of your life as an eternal recurrence. Think of your life as a cycle. Everything that happens to you will happen again when you die and are reborn. It's almost like your life is a never-ending cycle. You go through the same events once you die, and you come back and you're reborn, and it's constantly happened. And the only answer to this question or this thought experiment is to love your fate no matter what happens. Whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether it's evil, you must accept it all as the same. So these are some of the main ideas that Nietzsche has. And I encourage you to do a lot more research on Nietzsche, because this was a more simplified version of Nietzsche. Yes, I do hope you enjoyed this video, and I will probably be doing a lot more videos on Nietzsche, a little bit more long form. But for today, I just wanted to go over some of Nietzsche's ideas in a more simplified form. So thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in another one.